Studio Classroom is on the air. It's a place to learn and a place to share. Connect with others everywhere. There are things to learn and there's things to know. So please stay tuned and watch the show.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Studio Classroom on the air. My name is Rebecca, and I know that you all are so excited because, yes, your English will improve today. Imagine if you could use surfing to change people's lives. This may sound impossible, but in today's lesson, called Surfers Healing, we're actually going to find out how riding the waves is impacting the world. There are a couple things that we are going to discuss today. First, surfing as a lifestyle and a one-of-a-kind childhood. Okay, friends, open up your magazines and let's go talk about surfing.
Surfers Healing. What if riding the waves meant changing the world? Surf's up! Young Israel Izzy Paskowitz heard these words regularly as he grew up in a family whose life revolved around surfing. A one-of-a-kind childhood. Izzy's father, Dorian Paskowitz, was a Stanford University graduate and a physician. In the late 50s, he gave up his successful career to take his wife and growing family across the U.S., traveling from beach to beach. According to Izzy, my dad wanted his 9 children to have the wisdom that comes from life experience. So instead of living in a house, we lived in a small camper, traveling in search of our next wave.
Hi everyone, welcome to Language Lab. 这篇文章的第一个重点，我们看 revolve around 这个动词片，V-O-L-V 这个字根有滚动的意思，所以 revolve 是指旋转。所以如果是 revolve around someone or something 是指以某人或某事为中心，或者是围绕着某人或某事。例如 Chelsea's life revolves around her husband. Chelsea 的生活是以她的先生为中心。或者是 the discussion in the meeting revolved around the company's future development. 这个会议讨论的中心议题就是公司未来的发展。接着我们看的是 camper 这个名词，我们看到这个字里面有 camp, C-A-M-P, 露营这个动词，所以 camper 在这里是指露营车。例如 the camper is equipped with living quarters. 这个露营车设计有起居的空间。或者是 we parked our camper at a campsite where we could hook up to water and electricity. 我们把露营车停在一个可以接水电的露营区。Camper 也可以指露营者，例如 the campers went to a nearby grocery store to get supplies. 这些露营者到最近的一家杂货店去买补给。
Excellent! Thank you so much, Michelle. Rebecca?
Yes, Gabe?
Another lesson about surfing. I like it.
Yes. I like surfing too.
Yeah, well, you know, we gotta find some time again to go surfing. Well, friends, our lesson is called Surfers Healing. We'll learn more about this later and even in tomorrow's lesson. But let's learn about the background here to Surfers Healing. We see this question, what if riding the waves meant changing the world? What is riding the waves, Rebecca?
Well, you know, we just saw a wonderful picture of someone surfing, and that is a great example of someone riding the waves. That means they're on the surfboard and they're riding on the waves. They're on top of the waves. Surfing.
Exactly. So, if someone tells you they're going to go ride the waves, that means they're going to go surfing. Okay? It's kind of a you're reading 口语. I'm going to go ride the waves today. I'm going surfing. Okay. What if riding the waves meant changing the world? Surf's up. And of course, we learned that phrase in our previous lesson. Surf's up. It's time to go surfing. It's the perfect time for surfing.
And here in our lesson, we learn about Israel Izzy Paskowitz. We read young Israel Izzy Paskowitz heard these words regularly as he grew up in a family whose life revolves around surfing. Okay, let's talk about those words to revolve around. If something revolves around something else, this just means that that particular item is the most important thing or subject. For example, our conversation always seems to revolve around sports.
Oh, good example. Yes. Often our examples revolve around coffee or tea or kittens. Let's see, what's another good example? You know, earlier this month we learned about the world of Warcraft. Some people's lives revolve around video games like that or 英雄联盟. Does your life revolve around video games? I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not too. Well, anyway, we learned that Izzy Paskowitz, his life revolved around surfing. And of course, we see that Dorian Paskowitz, who is Izzy's father, was a Stanford University graduate and a physician. And in the late 50s, he gave up his successful career to take his wife and growing family across the U.S.
Traveling from beach to beach. That means they were probably part of a surfing subculture. What does Steve and Ken have to say about the word subculture? I'm glad you asked. Let's join them in the info cloud.
Take a look around your classroom, your office, or neighborhood. There are probably small groups of people that are different from the others, right?
Perhaps they're part of a subculture. Subcultures are small groups of people that set themselves apart from mainstream society by their beliefs and behaviors.
Right. Now, everyone has interests and hobbies, but we only classify those interests and hobbies as subcultures if they become a way of life.
In the 1950s, some people abandoned the norms and expectations of traditional society and pursued their own unique way of life, living in simple harmony with the world by harnessing the power of an ocean wave on a surfboard. The surfing subculture was born.
Okay, another characteristic of subcultures is jargon, which is defined as the vocabulary of a particular profession or group. Now, if you were to start spending time with surfers, I'm sure you would find some of their language difficult to understand.
But some surfer jargon has become so popular that it's entered mainstream society, like the word stoked, meaning happy or excited.
Another word made popular by surfers is gnarly, which means large, difficult, and dangerous, like a gnarly wave.
Subculture 就是所谓的次文化，指的就是在社会当中非主流文化的特定族群。那这个族群有它一套的特殊价值观以及生活态度，像青少年文化里头的街舞就是一种 subculture。1950年代在美国就产生了 surfing subculture 冲浪的次文化。次文化有一个特点，就是它专属的 jargon 行话。而这几十年，很多原本是冲浪课讲的 jargon 也渐渐的成为日常的英文。像 stoked 这个字，原本是冲浪客看到海上的大浪感到非常的 stoked 兴奋，现在呢就被一般人用来表示非常雀跃兴奋的意思。还有 gnarly， 注意这个字的 g 不发音。gnarly 这个俚语原本是形容一道很危险很难冲的大浪，现在呢就拿来形容任何极端危险的事物。这就是今天的 Info Cloud， 我们下次云端见。
Thank you guys. Well, speaking of jargon, do you remember hang loose from our last Sing It Out?
Yeah, that's kind of fun. Hang loose. It kind of looks like the sign language for 6 in Chinese, right? Okay, well, friends, let's continue on with our lesson here where we continue to learn about Izzy. All right, according to Izzy, my dad wanted his 9 children to have the wisdom that comes from a life experience. Wow, 9 kids. Can you imagine growing up with 8 siblings, Rebecca?
Well, I grew up with 5 siblings, but 8 siblings, that would be quite a household, I would have to say. A lot of people, a lot of different personalities. But hey, Gabe, I really liked this word, these 2 words you brought up, life experience.
Oh, yeah. That's straight from our lesson.
I know it is.
Life experience. Okay, so the reason life experience is mentioned is because there are different ways that you can learn something, right? You could learn in school. Of course, we learn lots of things in school. Other things you learn through life experience.
And of course, a life experience is when you have the opportunity to do something. So, for example, Izzy could possibly learn about surfing in a classroom. You know, he could read about it in books, and he could even look at pictures and maybe watch videos about surfing. Or he can actually get out into the water and ride some of those waves himself. Which way do you think would be a more effective way of learning in this particular?
Yes, of course. You can't learn surfing just by reading about it. You have to have the experience to go with it, right? But I think life experience means more than just learning a certain skill. We read here, so instead of living in a house, we lived in a camper traveling in search of our next wave. So they moved around a lot, maybe learning about the different places and learning from the different people living in those places.
That's right. Well, we have more to learn, so make sure you stay.